Hey Vikings fans, Tyler here to talk to you about Pick and Shovelware and pickandshovelware.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, all kinds of fun, different Minnesota sports clothing items and apparel options. We got a deal going with them right now where if you buy whatever you want, enter the promo code Bleeding Purple, all one word, and you will get free shipping. That is promo code Bleeding Purple, pickandshovelware.com. Make sure you go ahead and check it out. Okay, let's start the show. Welcome in to Bleeding Purple, a podcast about the Minnesota Vikings. My name is Tyler Haig, and I am joined, as always, by Mr. Adam Patrick. The train's going to go by right now, Adam, so it's going to get kind of loud. But hey, how are you?
It's because it's a symbolism, because we're coming in hot.
That's right, coming in hot. Speaking of hot takes, so cut day happened, and I had a hot take on April 30th, episode 62. You can see it right, yeah. Bam.
Yeah, for those viewing.
For those viewing, not anybody listening. But for those listening, this is what I said.
A ton. So I guess he's going to be there. Here's my hot take prediction, though. Newman doesn't make the team, but is signed as a coach.
Oh, my God.
Bam.
Woo! You heard it here first. April 30th. I think it means the coaching staff is listening, Adam. I think we should maybe be suggesting more stuff that we want to see, you know, as opposed to what we think they're going to do. Maybe it's an angle that we could take, but I totally predicted Terrence Newman was going to be the coach.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Move Slaughter up to number 2. What else? Edison should have been. We'll get to all these things. But so the cut day happened, and a lot of different curveballs were kind of thrown. One of them, Terrence Newman retiring, moving on to the coaching staff, which I think is an incredible move. What do you think of the move? Kind of weird. Do you remember this happening previously? Like, I'm sure it's not unprecedented because they've been playing football a long time, but I cannot remember this happening.
I'm sure it's happened, but I haven't really noticed anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. It's good. I think he said today he's going to be coaching like the nickel corners, mostly working with them as like an assistant DB's coach. So that'll be good. I mean, he was kind of already doing that,
right?
When in his role on the team.
Yeah. And
you know, the Vikings had to make room for younger players, and apparently Zimmer approached him and was like, "Hey, you know, I'd like to bring you on as a coach," and he was like, "Sure, whatever." He still gets to be with the team. He still gets to, you know, go after the Super Bowl. He just, you know,
get a ring if they win.
Yeah, his body probably won't hurt, you know, as much after every week. So I think it's probably a pay cut, but you know, I think, you know, seems like he's a person who's actually like saved most of his money. I don't think he's married or has kids, so he's been able to save most of the money he's made in the NFL and you know, not worry about his coaching salary this year.
So that was definitely, you mentioned it a little bit, that was the movement during cut day, was it was obvious they were going younger, they were getting rid of some older players. Another older player that they wound up releasing was Brian Robison, who was an 11-year, 12-year vet. White chocolate. I had never heard that. I had never heard that. That's amazing.
Never heard.
Oh, God. 11 years I could have been using that nickname. That's
him and Randy Moss's old basketball teammate from high school.
Yeah. Jason Williams. I love watching him play basketball. But yeah, so Brian Robison is no longer on the team. He took a pay cut 2 years in a row, restructured. and then wound up getting cut. And it is very apparent that the Vikings loved him. Like, he was there was like 4 different quotes from 4 different higher ups in the organization.
Owners, Zimmer, general manager,
So very apparent that they appreciated him, but man, they still cut him after all that. It's crazy.
I don't think it was anything that he did or didn't do. I think it was more of just the play of the younger players in the preseason, like Stephen Weatherly and Sean Bauer. Just, they played too well for the Vikings to, either get rid of them or risk putting them on the practice squad. Like, Weatherly led the team in pressures during the preseason, and they've always liked Sean Bauer. And then they got some of the younger guys too on the inside, like Jaleel Johnson. I'm surprised they got rid of Odenigbo. I think they wanted him to come back to the practice squad, but he got picked up by the Browns.
Literally the first team that could have taken him took him.
Yeah.
So that gives you a little glimpse into what the Vikings were working with.
Yeah, and I don't think Roberson probably would have played that much. I think the Vikings
rotational at best, right? He would have been a third down pass rushing guy, and that would have been basically it,
Everson Griffin said he thinks he's still going to play this year, so maybe he'll sign with another team. But at the same time, maybe someone on the Vikings gets hurt, and the Vikings give Robinson a call again. But he was good. I think he had 60 sacks in his career with the Vikings. He wasn't like a Jerry Allen type of guy, but he made plays when the Vikings needed him the most. He was good at just knowing the defense and getting guys in the right spots and being a good mentor for like guys like Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin.
That's what I was going to say. It feels like his worth to this team is not in statistics or tackles. It's being a professional and showing younger guys how to be a professional and all that kind of stuff, But, I mean, not that he wasn't productive on the field, because he was, but...
No, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in like a coaching sort of role, either in college or in the NFL in the future, just the way he kind of seems.
I mean, it's tough, though, because he really likes fishing. And I don't know a lot about retirement, but I've heard that once you retire, fishing and golfing climb up the list. And if fishing's already that high, he's probably busy fishing.
He already did a lot of fishing, so now that's why people are like, oh, he might come back. I'm like, I don't know. He's got a lot of time to fish. I think he's gonna probably just enjoy, having some time off for the first time and enjoy. He'll miss being on the field, of course, but I think he seems like he's got younger kids, so he seems like a family guy. But at the same time, he loves playing football. So if a team offers him an opportunity, hopefully it's no one in NFC North.
God, I hope not.
But I think it would have to be with the right team, like a contender or something, like the Rams or something like that, for him to come back.
For sure. I would agree with that. I think you hit it on the head with the Terrence Newman thing, too, is these guys, once they get older, their bodies, the recovery time, it takes so much longer that I feel like, especially for guys Terrence Newman's age and Brian B-Rob's age, they probably are already feeling this is, so to, have this happen at this time, I'm sure both B-Rob and Terrence Newman were like, yeah, I don't need that kind of sore in my life for the next 9 months. I can do without that. And I think that weighs on those guys as they get older.
I think players are more aware these days of the, longer effects on football players' bodies, and they've seen the stories of guys, losing their memory super fast. And
Newman mentioned it in his press conference today. He said something about tearing up your neck or your back and not being able to function normally going forward. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, these guys think about it. And it is, like we talk so much about these guys and the CTE and the concussions and all this stuff. But, yeah, man, at the end of the day, these dudes are just ripping their bodies apart. I mean, yes, they're getting paid a lot of money and all that, but it definitely is a huge concern for these guys, their physical well-being going forward, as it should be. But
yeah, because when they retire, they're only like 35, 40 years old. They should have like another half of life to live, so they want to
and a lot of them get like 15 years and then are basically immobile, or had previously. I mean, some of those older football players, it's like they can barely move by the time they're 50.
Yeah, even Brett Favre, he complains all the time about memory loss and all that stuff.
I don't know though. He's got those copper fits, sleeves and stuff. So he's probably good at this point. But I bet right away when he was done, he was probably sore. But now it's
super razor.
Yeah, that too. So he's good. I think he's going to be okay. Other cuts or rather interesting moves leading up to the final 53. Rock Thomas and Mike Boone both made the team.
I said they might do that. I didn't predict it in my 53.
I mean, unless you have your phone for me to hear it,
I wrote an article on it. You want me to bring that up?
Copy and paste.
But yeah, I think it shows the, how the Vikings actually feel right now about Dalvin Cook and his how they're going to bring him into the season. Everyone's excited that he looks great and he's looking good from his recovery, but at the same time, the Vikings don't want to just throw him back out there, give him the same load. What if he does, get hurt again? Then they would only have 2 running backs to turn to, and it's, Rock Thomas and Mike Boone showed they can play pretty well.
Yeah, they both really showed out
in their system. So I think that was a good move by the Vikings. So that move had to make room for some other people on the roster, but I think it was necessary.
I heard kind of a conspiracy theory type idea that maybe one of them is being kept as like a trade bait kind of a situation to maybe bring something in later, or offensive line perhaps. Just got hurt. People are going to be looking, and they are running backs, so like injuries will happen. And
I threw out the idea of the Vikings possibly trading Latavius Murray to the 49ers, if people would have a problem with that. And I don't think a lot of people had a problem with that because they realized Murray's in the last year of his contract, and the 49ers are probably a little desperate at this point. I think their top running back is Alfred Morris, who just signed a week or 2 ago.
I was just gonna say I think their best guy just got there.
But yeah, people are like, no, I love Murray, and you should only try and get a first round pick for him. I'm like, no. Get fourth if you can.
First round pick for Latavius.
He's probably going elsewhere next year, anyways. Mostly because the Vikings probably just won't be able to pay him what he wants.
Yeah, and somebody else will need him and be able to pay him.
Yeah. So when's the trade deadline? 6 weeks?
I have absolutely no idea. That's a great question.
I would keep an eye on that running back group for trades for sure, because I know a lot of people outside of the liked Mike Boone and Rock Thomas, what they did in the preseason. And Matt Brown just disappeared, right? He was the favorite going into training camp in the preseason. And
both he and Kendall Wright, I have not seen 2 players evaporate faster in a training camp. They just were gone, and were not even part of the normal rotation. Even the twos, it was goofy to me. I don't understand it. Other guys, did you have any other questionable? I mean, the wide receiver stuff was interesting to me. That Coley was the guy they wound up, keeping.
Yeah, I mean, they ended up keeping BB. So he's on the practice squad. So
on the practice squad, yeah.
They got lucky with that because I think somebody else probably could have signed him, but they didn't. I know you probably was surprised on the offensive line, but that's how I pretty much thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
How many the linebackers. I think they kept a 7th round pick, Devontae Downs.
Yep.
And then they kept 5 safeties. Curse was on there too.
Yep.
That was a little surprising. I thought they only keep 4, but
Definitely.
Because they didn't keep Newman, that made it easier. But no, I wasn't really too surprised. Even with the Newman and Robinson and Kendall Wright, I wasn't really that surprised with any of their moves. I think we've said in the past, we wouldn't be surprised if these guys made it, but at the same time, if they felt they should go somewhere else, it wouldn't be that surprising either.
Yeah. And it's easy to look at it from the Vikings' perspective and be able to understand why they made those moves. You're getting younger, you're getting more cost efficient. You're getting cheaper with these younger players' contracts. I mean, it's an easy move, and if the talent is comparable, then I mean, you can totally see why they made the moves that they made. But I don't know. The Stacey Coley thing perplexes me because I just feel like there were so many other players that could have filled that spot. And for a guy who literally did not do anything in training camp to make the team is just so confusing to me.
Well, they see him in practice.
Yeah, I guess. He must be showing him a lot in practice.
I mean, Mike Zimmer kind of said that today about Brandon Zylstra. Like, somebody asked him what he did in, like, the final game to make the roster, and Zimmer was like, well, I don't think it was really anything he did in the final game. It was more of what he did, like, leading up to training camp and in the beginning of training camp because he was for most of the preseason.
Yep.
So that could be with Coley, too. And I totally forgot that Coley was a 7th-round pick. I thought he was, like, a 5th-round pick or something. But, no, he was selected in the 7th round. But apparently they like him. But,
they really like him. I don't understand it. I mean, good on you for, I hope they know something I don't. Like you said, I hope they're seeing something in practice that I'm not seeing because that was the most confusing. Everything else I could understand, but that one I just didn't. I have no information that would lead me to believe he was the best option to keep there. But I don't know.
Yeah. And Marcus Sherrills made it again.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me because the special teams dude, D-backs coach, they all are like, oh, he's great. He's super valuable. Like, all of those guys were, it's like, okay, what?
Are you about to talk about your guy getting let go?
Dude, yeah. Okay, let's go there. Well, first, here, let's, before we go there, let's talk, so the practice squad, Chad Beebe made it, Storm Norton, who is just a name I need to keep saying. It's the best name.
It's a good name.
Storm Norton. It's a great. I just keep him around just so I can keep saying it. Who else of note? Jack Tocho. I was a little bit surprised by that he was on the practice squad. I don't know. Other ones. What was the other one? Oh, and then Cornelius Edison, my guy, Edison, who I thought played really well on the practice squad. So we are one sprained ankle away from Danny Isadora being your starting center.
Apparently he's a natural, though. That's what Mike Zimmer said today. Isadora, he thinks he's a natural at that position. That's probably just, coach speak for like, we hope he doesn't have to play.
Lord, man. It was, and it was like his first shotgun snap was like on the ground. I was like, ugh.
Were you able to catch the Zimmer presser today?
No, I did not see it.
Christopher Thompson asked Mike Zimmer today who he thought might be starting at center, and Mike Zimmer just looked right at him and goes, "Not you."
Not you, he said.
Yep. I was just like, oh.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yes.
It's season 4.
Man, that offensive line worries me. I don't know why. I mean, I like Edison. I thought he was good, but I just worry. Isadora better be a natural, man, because they're in serious trouble if Brett Jones goes down. But
yeah, well, I found this out today that 19 different offensive linemen have started a game for the Vikings.
I saw that tweet. That is so depressing.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
For a position that is 5.
4 years?
Yeah, 5.
That's
there are 5 available starting positions there, and you've started. Dude, I don't know. That's honestly my biggest concern is that offensive line because
it's going to be 20 and 21 this year with Tom Compton and Brett Jones.
That is some thin ice they are skating on with that group. That is like the bottom could fall out of that, and that could be really ugly. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope Elflein comes back. I hope we laugh about this by week 6. But good God, that could be.
Yeah, it's definitely been the Achilles heel, I feel, of Zimmer's tenure with the Vikings.
I completely agree. And
I thought I was getting back on track, but then Tony Soprano passed away. So there's not much you can do about that.
No, exactly, and that's nobody's fault, but it's just ugly. So let's talk now about the just to me atrocious move that the Vikings made. I'm being sarcastic, but Quigley played pretty well last year. Didn't look so hot in the preseason this year. They move on.
I didn't really notice.
They move on from Quigley and bring on this. Is it Wiley or Weil? How do you say this dude's name? Do you know?
Weil, I think, right?
Weil?
Like
I don't know.
Weil or something.
No idea. Nick? What is his name? Matt Weil.
We'll find out.
Matt Weil Wiley.
Nick
Weil.
We were close. Nick Wiley.
So he's the new white guy that's going to kick the ball for the Vikings, and I don't know.
He averaged like 49 yards a kick this preseason, so that's pretty good. I think Quigley averaged under 40 yards. So.
You can say I thought Ryan Quigley did a good job last year, but I totally understand them wanting to upgrade. It's a punter. It's not that big of a deal. So, like, it's not all that noteworthy, but I thought it was interesting that a guy that did his job and did it pretty well didn't get a chance to repeat that performance the next season. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if some of it had to do with the kicking situation, like, because he's the holder too. I'm wondering if that had to do with, like, maybe some of the struggles that people have seen from Daniel Carlson, if the holder has to
Very
do with that.
interesting. Adam, that's conspiracy theory, like.
Well, people kind of just forget about that Quigley was the holder too.
Yeah.
Special teams in general, it's not just punting. He's got more than one duty on the field. So.
Dude, laces out, Quigley. Get him out of town.
Yeah. So we'll see if Carl.
Man, I never even thought about that as a possibility. That's a really interesting thought.
I think somebody asked Zimmer today about their new punter, and he was like, "Well, I haven't really seen him kick, but he did a good job holding." So I found that was interesting that he just seemed to mention that.
The Vikings are unbelievable. If this was any other franchise and your head coach was like, I haven't seen my new punter punt, but I hear he's good, people would go nuts. But it's Zimmer, so they're like, whatever. They're like, the Vikings will be fine.
I mean, if you're in the NFL, you know how to punt. So
I like when coaches are honest about stuff like that, because at the end of the day, it's like, do you really even give 2 seconds of thought to your punter if you're Mike Zimmer? It literally is 2 seconds, you know? Oh, you think he's better? Cool. Get rid of the other one and sign this new guy. Sounds good. I don't care.
He's not. At least he's not Nick Saban or Doug Peterson getting mad about people asking about, your quarterback when it's the first game.
Totally. Oh, can I just go on a little rant here for a second? My biggest pet peeve is these coaches being upset at reporters for asking them literally the most pertinent question about your football team. Dude, that is the only thing worth talking about. Yes. Who's going to be your quarterback? He's the guy that touches the ball every play, man. Come on. Of course we want to know.
How many RPOs do you plan to run tonight? Like, they're not asking those questions. Just like, you've got 2 quarterbacks. God. Usually you only play one. So which one's it going to be? It's going to be a competitive advantage.
See, that's the thing too, is that it's always hidden behind like we just don't want it. They don't care. They know one way or the other. You think like this?
That's why.
That was the best tweet I saw about, like, oh God, Philadelphia, like, you just saved Atlanta hours of film on Wentz, preparing for Wentz, because that was that's what happened.
Because they didn't run the same exact offense when Nick Foles was in last year.
Oh God, it just is, it's such a BS excuse for being, it's so rude. It's so crappy and so rude.
I watched a bunch of, like, college coach press conference this week, and a lot of them are just like so condescending to
it's garbage.
Reporters.
Makes
just
me
like
so mad.
You guys are like peasants to me, and I'm the leader of like everything. Everything I say should be right. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
Here's the problem, though, is that these guys are totally the king.
Oh, they're put on a
totally are
pedestal
bulletproof. Yeah. Nick Saban got his mansion paid off by boosters because there was no other way for them to give him more money. It's like. Yeah,
I was watching the Syracuse post game press conference, and their coach was like, he took his they were up 34-7 at the half, and they took their starting quarterback out and put in a freshman to get him reps, and the other team ended up coming back and only being down by 6. Yeah. So obviously people are gonna ask him about the quarterback. Yeah. Afterwards, and he was just wondering why people are asking him about the quarterback change, and I'm just like, dude, you're not Alabama, so you can't get it away with just doing stuff like that and not expecting your team to just give away a game.
Well, and even if you are Alabama and you make a quarterback change when you're up and a team comes back after you make that quarterback, that's the first question they're going to ask. Yes, that's their job, is to ask about what just happened. That was the most important thing of the game. And
if you don't like it, just give a cliche that's what we wanted to do. It didn't work out, and we figured it out.
I think that's it. I think that's what makes me so frustrated is there's a dance. Everybody knows that there's a dance going on with the questions. There's a dance going on with the answers. You can give an answer to even a bad question. Just do the dance, man. Do the cliche thing and move on. You don't have to be a jerk to this lady on TV. Come on.
Bill Belichick it up.
Totally. Literally, that could have been would you, Nick Saban on that interview with that lady was that on ESPN or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, ESPN, ABC. Or
all he needed to say was, we're going to take it one day at a time, one game at a time, figure out who's starting, and we'll go from there. We're not sure yet. You know, there were so many ways for him to avoid answering it, and instead he just like snaps off on this.
Why are you asking me?
Yeah, it's like,
and then they're like, he apologized, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure he did that willingly.
Yeah, and even if he like, dude, I'm so sorry about that. It's like Urban Meyer. It's like he writes an apology to the Ohio State fans,
I'm sorry we're in this situation.
He's clean now. It's like, give me a freaking break. Oof, I almost
college football's back.
Yay! It is. I love watching college football, the games, but it is the most dysfunctional. Like, I can't stand the system of it. It just bugs me so much. And these coaches can take money whenever they want, leave whenever they want, transfer these kids out, cut them, take their scholarships away.
Yep.
But if one of them tries to transfer to a school in their conference, end of the world. This kid's a quitter. He doesn't get it. These are not the kind of football. It's like, get out of here with that garbage.
That's why I don't like understand some people when they're like, "Oh, college football is way better than the NFL."
No way.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, because I will say this about the
NFL
college.
has its downfalls too.
Yeah, and I will say this about college football.
I feel like it's a little less corrupt.
Yes.
College football.
And there are some offenses it's so fun to watch college football wise, but I don't know, from a structural and systemic standpoint, there are a lot of issues going on there. I think the NCAA is garbage. I said it. It's like, honest to God, it's like FIFA, NCAA, and whatever the Olympic Committee. Those are
here comes the cease and desist order.
Yeah, for real, the gnarliest. Oh yeah, because you can't even say Olympics, or you can't even say the big
IOC.
game. Well, yeah, what do you say for instead of? I don't know. You can't say Olympics, so whatever. I don't know. Those organizations are garbage.
Mid podcast rant.
Yep. Sorry, that was my bad. Got a little off the rails there.
Gotta get it off your chest.
So we made it through the cuts. Where were we? Oh yeah, and now we're gonna do predictions for the season. What up? Full record prediction.
That's here. That's coming up.
It's here. It's right now. It's like game week, basically, kind of.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So, first up is the 49ers. I'm gonna give the Vikings a W here because I don't believe in Jimmy Garoppolo. But let's talk about that real quick for a second. Do you think Jimmy Garoppolo is actually worth all of this hype? Do you think that he is the kind of dude that can resurrect this franchise?
I think he's a better quarterback than they've had in a long time.
I would agree with that.
I think he will play well, but I don't think he's going to play at an MVP level. People got to remember he's pretty young too.
Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't have a ton of starting experience, and he was kind of playing with no pressure last year, under the radar. And when he played the past,
was done already, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's gotten hurt in the past too, so that's a thing to keep an eye on too. If he can last,
yeah, that's a good point.
The entire season. I think he is worth the hype. It was clear that he made the team, both sides of the ball better when he was put in. But there was just a lot more confidence. I think the Jerick McKinnon injury is going to be a lot bigger to that, team than people realize.
I would agree with that for sure.
I think they have a good young defense. Their offensive line's pretty good, or getting good. And Kyle Shanahan's smart enough to put his players in the right situation. But who'd they have last year as their quarterbacks? Like Brian Hoyer and C.J. Beathard. It's not like they had a ton. And then even if the 49ers don't get in the playoffs this year, if they win 7 or 8 games, it's going to get more better players to come there next year and stuff. Maybe Le'Veon Bell goes out there, and then
that might happen before. That might be this week.
Then people are getting on board, with that team. So I think he is worth the hype. I think the Niners still have a lot of work to do, but I think he's a good quarterback for them going forward if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I think there's maybe too much hype, but I think he will be a really good. I think he's going to be what they want him to be. He's going to have to play so bad for them to think that Jimmy G is the problem on offense that I think he's going to be fine for whatever He's going to fill the role
in
they
every-
need him to fill.
Yeah, and every game he's played in the NFL, he's looked good, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to go on that, and it hasn't been like preseason games; they've been regular season games. And,
Yeah.
But I think I wouldn't be surprised when the Vikings play them this weekend if the 49ers get off to like a hot start in the first half, and then the Vikings come out and like shut them down in the second half. Because that's kind of what the Vikings, I think, seem to do. Like let the offense kind of do their thing and then be like, nope, not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, the second halves were, I can see that. So game number 2, well, first, do you have the Vikings winning or losing week 1?
yeah,
Win?
Win.
Week 2 at Green Bay. What do you got?
I'll go with a win because I don't like the Packers defense this year. I don't think they're going to be very good. Like a lot of young guys in the secondary, and I think Diggs and Thielen are just going to rip them up. And it's not in December; it's in September. It's going to be a nice day. They don't have to worry about landing on the ground and like playing on cement. So
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is good. Mike Zimmer is pretty good against Aaron Rodgers in the past. So
He does have a
Anthony
good
Barr is
history
probably going to
against
be on the field. So Aaron Rodgers is going to have to wear 2 pairs of underpants. So.
I think they're going to split with Green Bay this year, so I'm going to have them lose at Green Bay and then win the one at home later. So I'm going to give them an L there. Next,
Who's the Packers running back, by the way?
I don't know. Is it still the tight end receiver guy that wears the number in the 80s?
Oh, Montgomery?
I don't know. Whatever that guy's name is. I think it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, who's he? He's got Devontae Adams and Jimmy Graham. But,
Yeah, Jimmy Graham. There was one more receiver
and
too that I thought was.
I saw
pretty good.
some recent stats on Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't been playing too hot these past like 3 or 4 years, like compared to his MVP
How good he was.
seasons.
Early on.
Like he's kind of been on the decline. But,
Yeah. Well, you can look
and
at
he's
like
still a really good. He's
Yes.
still really good
for
but
sure.
he's
But you
also
can just
been
look at
hurt,
his
too.
weapons, the weapons around him too, because in his like MVP year, they were like stacked. Like
Oh yeah,
they had like 3-4
Jennings,
receivers that could
Sawyer
change.
Nelson.
Yeah.
Driver. Yeah, all
Yeah.
those guys.
Next up, Bills at home. I'm going W there for the Vikings.
That's no way.
At-
Josh Allen might be playing by then.
Yeah, you're probably right, dude.
Even if, but that great first game for him. Going against the Vikings defense.
Man, I feel so bad for Peterman because that poor guy, they like announced that he was the starter going into week 1, and it just, I feel bad for him now. Before it was funny, that Nathan Peterman was starting because his name's kind of funny and he's not a very good quarterback, but now it's not very funny anymore, and I feel
Well, they just I think they either worked out or signed Paxton Lynch, so at least they have they're staying consistent with the kind of quarterbacks they're bringing in.
garbage.
Horrible.
Oh man. Okay, next up at the Rams.
It's a tough one.
It is.
I think that's a loss.
I agree with you. I also think that is a loss.
It's a short week on the road on the West Coast. Rams pretty good.
A team that feels like they're going to.
I don't know how.
Yeah, a team that feels like they're going to start well because there's a lot of hype on them, and then maybe later on in the season they'll
Injuries,
tail off.
injuries might change that, depending on who's healthy on both sides. But I think that looks like a loss.
I agree with you.
I don't think it's going to happen a lot this year, but I think that everything lines up. I think a lot would have to go the Vikings' way, like turnover-wise and
Yes.
special teams plays and stuff like that, for them to come out of there with a win.
I completely agree. Next up is at Philadelphia.
That's a win.
I'm going with a loss.
They get 10 days to prepare. Mike Zimmer's not going to let that defense look like they did in the NFC Championship.
That I can guarantee will.
And
that
Kirk
will
Cousins
change.
has played very well against the Eagles in his career. So that's what And the Eagles, I feel like they're not going to be as good as they were.
I completely agree with that. I think there's definite regression happening from Philadelphia this year, and I feel like it's crazy to me that people are still putting them up where they were last year, even though their roster has not completely changed, but is very different from what it looked like last year. Their coaching staff looks very different from what it looked like last year. I don't
even think they're going to win the division.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if they didn't at all. Yeah. I still think they're going to lose this game because I feel like these first 5 games for the Vikings are, if they can make it through the first 5 and be basically injury-free and play okay, not have the kind of like turmoil that we have seen happen when teams aren't playing as well as they're supposed to or aren't meeting the expectations, perhaps is a better way to put that. I think it's going to be a rough 5. But if they can make it through that, they got a lot of games that they can win in a row.
Yeah.
Going forward,
I think the Vikings, they're definitely going to be super focused for that Eagles game. I think they were a little overconfident probably last year, coming off of that miracle win. I think they celebrated probably a little too much, and then had a bad week of practice, and it caught up to them. They were kind of caught off guard. The real Case Keenum came out.
Yeah, weren't totally healthy on defense either, and it just
no,
not good, man.
I feel like they're a lot. I feel like the Vikings are a lot deeper, even on the defensive side of the ball, than they were a year ago, and that's pretty scary for a team that was the best defense in the NFL.
Yes, dude, and I still every now and then I'll read it where this team went 13-3 last year and got Kirk Cousins, got Sheldon Richardson, and will be getting Dalvin Cook back. Like that alone is like,
and Mike Hughes.
Yeah, they're gonna be good. And Mike Hughes. Yeah, man, they're gonna be really good. What do we got up next here? Cardinals, Bradford. Do you think it'll be? No, it probably won't be Bradford by that point.
Is he going to be? Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm sure it'll be Young Buck.
I hope he
That's
is.
Rosen is with them, right?
I kind of hope Bradford's healthy, so like Everson Griffin can just like pile drive him into the ground.
He'll never make it to him. He'll be laying on the ground by the time Griffin gets there. Waiting to be touched down.
Like, he knows what's coming. So. Yeah, that could be a sneaky loss. I feel like where is that game in Minnesota?
It's in Minnesota. Yeah, if it was in Arizona, I maybe would have had him with an L there too, but
I think it could be a sneaky loss just because I think if the Vikings, come off beating the Eagles on the road, I think they're going to put like a lot of effort into that game. Coming off of that game, it might be hurting a little bit.
It's like the quintessential trap game because you got a bunch of teams that aren't supposed to be very good coming up after without a doubt your toughest stretch of the season.
Yeah, and I could even see the Cardinals being having a pretty good record by the time of the season.
Yeah.
David Johnson's going to be back. They have a pretty good defense, so that could be an early maybe NFC playoff matchup.
Maybe. Next up, at Jets. No more Teddy Bridgewater, so I don't even care about this game anymore. But
that's a win.
I think a win too.
That's not even a trap game.
That's a win. Against New Orleans, the Saints with Mr. Teddy Bridgewater, who obviously won't be playing probably, but gotta say his name.
It's gonna be a close game. Teddy's gonna offer some pointers.
Yeah, he knows.
Saints. I'm going to go with the Vikings getting the win there. It's in Minnesota again. They've won the last 2 against the Saints in Minnesota, so why not win this one too?
I'm going to go with the win there as well. I feel like,
and I think Drew Brees he's on the decline. He was last year, and I know he played pretty well in the playoffs, but I think he's on his way out. He's got probably 1 or 2 years probably left. That's why would the Saints trade for Teddy Bridgewater if Drew Brees was still the same quarterback?
Completely agree with that statement right there. That's exactly what it is. Why would they bring in an heir apparent if they were still confident in his ability? Yeah. I think the Vikings are just better than the Saints at almost like every spot. I think the Vikings are better, but they're one of those teams that, I don't know, just always plays well, and it's going to be a close game. I think the Vikings are going to win because it's at home, but I think it'll be a close game. The week after that, the Lions in Minneapolis.
Where's that game?
In Minneapolis.
Ooh, I don't think that doesn't matter recently because the Lions just come in winning in Minnesota. They haven't lost in US Bank Stadium, I don't think.
I don't think so either. I'm going to go with the
but
win
I
for the
think it'll be
Vikings there.
different. Yeah, because I didn't like the hire of Matt Patricia as a coach. I didn't think he was that good of an assistant coach to deserve a head coaching opportunity. But he's with Belichick, so that gives you a boost
Automatically boosts.
automatically. But Matt Stafford, never count him out, I guess. But it'll probably be close. It always is. But I think the Vikings will get a win.
I think you're right. Week after that,
you have 2 losses. You have 2 losses, and I have 1 loss.
I got 3 losses.
3
At Rams, at Eagles, at Green Bay. They're all 3 of them are in the first 5 weeks of the season. Because I think that's a tough stretch, and I don't think the Vikings offense is going to be. I don't want to say it's not going to be good, but I just think the offense as a whole isn't going to be able to move the ball that well because everything is still so new and all these parts are still trying to work it out. And then your first 5 games are brutal, so it wouldn't surprise me. And I think I'm predicting they're going to go 2-3. But okay, what was next then? At Chicago, which has been difficult for the Vikings for a long time.
That's a loss. That's Monday night too, isn't it?
Oh, is it? I don't have that information. I only wrote at Bears.
Or maybe it might not be. It might not be, but I think it is.
You could be right.
Primetime game. But I think that's a loss. They just historically have struggled. Bears just got another player who's pretty good on their defense.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So that's going to be a close game. Probably come down to field goals. So that always is good for when the Vikings play football.
Historically speaking.
So I'll give the Bears a win. I think the Bears are going to be better. They're not going to be a playoff team, but they'll be better.
I agree with you. I think the Mac trade maybe doesn't make them better on the whole, but I think he's so good that improves them in the long term, which I think will help them play better in the short term, if that makes sense. That's kind of a ridiculous way for me to say that, but I think the Vikings are going to win this game because of the history, because I feel like all week we're going to hear about how they haven't won at Soldier Field in a long time. So I feel like they're going to win this.
Oh, wait, never mind. I didn't realize they had a bye week before, and it's a 1 o'clock game. So I'm going to give them a win.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm going to give them a win.
I just think they're due for a one in Chicago.
Next stretch of games.
Another tough stretch. So we got Green Bay, which is in Minneapolis. After the Bears. I'm going to go with the win.
Football, I think.
I'm going to go with the win for the Vikings there at home.
I'll give them a win. They've done pretty well at home in night games. Mm-hmm. At least at US Bank Stadium. Not TCF.
Yeah. The next week is at New England. Dun, dun, dun. I got to go with an L there, too. It depresses me, but
it's a December game. I think the Patriots are they lost 2 or 3 games in December.
I was just going to say, have a 98% winning percentage in December over the last 30 years.
It's at home. It's 4:25, so it's going to be dark too. So on the East Coast, unless Tom Brady's not playing, I think you got to go with that.
That's either going to be a loss for the Vikings, or it's going to be the game that everybody's like, oh my God, they're actually going to win the Super Bowl. Holy smokes, this team is really good, and they went into New England and.
And then the next week,
they go to the other side of the country to Seattle. I think Seattle's going to be a
Monday night
dumpster fire this year. I think they're going to be awful.
I think Seattle's 13-1 at home in prime time since 2011. So yeah,
no more Legion of Boom though. None of those guys. The defense is garbage, and Russell Wilson's all by himself.
True. That is true. I think they'll be competitive, but I don't know if they'll be a playoff team. They could surprise some people, but I'm still gonna predict the Seahawks to win that game.
Whoa! Because they're 12-1 and
that's a tough place to play.
You're right. It is, and definitely in prime time, and that makes sense. But I just feel like they could by that. What week is that? That is. There's 3 more games left, so that would be week 13.
14.
the wheels could be off at that point. They could be a total disaster by then.
It could be. They could have somebody else in the quarterback. They could have, who'd they just get? They got
Matt Flynn, I think. Matt Flynn. No, was that how long ago was that? Was just not that long ago.
Just traded for a quarterback. Oh, I can't remember.
I don't know. I missed that. So you're saying it wasn't Matt Flynn?
No. It was Tarvaris Jackson.
Oh, T-Jack. I almost forgot about him.
Oh, Brett Hundley. They just traded for Brett Hundley. It could be Brett Hundley in there for.
Oh yeah. Brett Hundley. I couldn't think of who that was. Yes, they did. That would make sense. That he. Yeah. Oh, dude, what a fun week that would be if Brett Hundley was starting and we just got to.
You'd be so excited.
Destroy them. That would be great. Week after that, Miami in Minneapolis. I'm going with a W there, but I'm not going to lie to you, Adam. I don't know much about Miami this year. I know Ryan Tannehill's knees are barely there, and I know he is going to be the starter.
Do you know this is his 7th season?
From that, I had no idea. 7th? I mean, that makes sense, but...
It feels like he's been in that league for like 3 years.
I know. Well, here's the first season of Hard Knocks that I ever saw was the Miami one with Joe Philbin as their head coach. So he, for whatever reason, and all those guys, Matt Moore is forever in like my head for that team. And I don't know. So that is like my point of reference. So 7 years, I guess that was a long time ago, but God, 7 years already? How many full seasons has he played? Like 3? Because he got like a huge extension, didn't he? Like way too early?
Yeah, and then he was like, oh, my knee fell off.
Yeah. Did you know that he was a wide receiver in Texas A&M?
Yep.
Like that?
Yep.
He's not even a real quarterback.
I think Mike Sherman was his college coach, former Packers coach.
Man, Mike Sherman, he gets around. And now he's in the CFL coaching Johnny Football, or was for a hot minute.
He was, because he recruited Johnny Manziel
at Texas A&M. It's a small, those coaching circles and guys like what a small world, man.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to be fighting for the number 1 pick this year, so I'm not worried about that game.
I agree with you. They do not look like they're going to be very good. Next one.
That kind of seems like the Browns game last year, where like the Vikings had like a horrible first half, and then they came out in the second half and like, okay, let's stop.
We're actually way better than you guys. We're gonna beat you now. Next week in Detroit, I'm gonna go with a loss there because I feel Detroit is one of those teams that they could either be.
See, but the Vikings have been good.
Total disaster
in Detroit.
See, they've been good in Detroit, but I feel like Detroit is one of those teams that could jump up and play really well, and be like a serious thorn in the Vikings' side. And if that's the case,
they could be off the rails at that point, too.
They could. That's what I was just going to say. They could either be really competitive and fighting for a playoff spot, or they could be like, who are we going to draft? This doesn't matter.
I don't think the Lions are making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm going to go with a win either.
All right, I'm going to go lost, but. I understand what you're saying and why you're saying it. I just can't. I was just going through it, and you can't have them. You can't have them sweep the division. I think they're going to lose a game to Detroit. I am, man. I am. In that first 5 games, they might never recover from that. Okay. They might not play well enough to recover, even in the soft part of the schedule.
They started 5-0, and then they lost all their games.
That's a great example of how the wheels can fall off and playoff seasons go down the drain because of an offensive line. Does that sound familiar, Adam? Because of offensive line question marks?
What happened? What was the problem in, 2003?
T.J. Clemmings. Oh, not 2003. Speaking of T.J. Clemmings, you see he went to Oakland?
Oh, the Raiders.
Dude, Gruden is just like, you can't even make it up.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
How do you trade?
He's blowing it up like they did, like they didn't make the playoffs 2 years ago.
It's inexplicable to me.
You're the best. You're the NFL's defensive player of the year. Oh, we're gonna trade you. And then
you're on your not only that, but you're on your rookie deal. Like you're young
and they traded
player.
And they traded a 2nd round pick with Khalil Mack
It just is unbelievable. I read Bill Barnwell had a really good article kind of going back and forth on each side of the argument, and he made a pretty good argument for why.
I mean, it's a bad trade for the Bears too. If it doesn't work out, that's a bad trade.
And he kind of went through the list of players that have gotten that kind of a haul in exchange, and it almost never goes well. Yeah, Herschel Walker was one. Ricky Williams was another one.
Is Randy Moss one?
No, because it was God. Who else?
It wasn't enough.
Also, Herschel Walker was 3 first-round picks. 3 first-round picks.
That was they traded all their picks, didn't they?
Oh my God! I didn't. I mean, I knew it was way too many, but God, that was.
Oh, I know the Saints traded all their picks for Ricky Williams.
Yeah, God, there was someone else too, but it was like a list of 5. There were 2 quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks
like
both stayed over 5 years.
Oh, was it?
They were older players.
The Redskins.
Players.
Redskins and like RG3. That's one too.
Yeah,
traded a bunch of picks.
yeah. You're right. Yeah, because that was 2. God, who was the other one? It was not that long ago. I'm not going to be able to remember it. But historically speaking, it doesn't usually go well for the team that obtains the talent. But that said, the players are never as young as Khalil Mack is. So
they're not. Yeah, they're not. But with the draft picks, I don't understand why you trade that kind of player for draft picks, because you've seen what Khalil Mack can do, but you don't know. Like, draft picks these days, even if you're picked in the first round, they're so like up in the air. It just really depends where they land.
Yes, and to think that you can just draft a defensive player that's going to look and play like Khalil Mack is absolutely crazy. You're not going to find like that's a 1 in 5 year talent, you know. At minimum.
Even been defensive player of the year in the past couple of years. It's been like Von Miller, Khalil Mack, and like J.J. Watt.
Yes, and that's like the list. Yeah. I don't understand it. It just like I don't know. It feels like Gruden is like if you don't like it, you can get out, you know. And it what a terrible way to run a franchise. He didn't want to sign him.
He didn't want to sign him anyways. So even though I think Gruden said like he wants too much money coming from the guy that signed a $100 million contract. This year.
Oh, see, that's that's the best thing. Oh, they don't have the money. It's like, really? Because they just gave him $100 million and they're moving to Las Vegas in a couple of years. I think the money ain't the issue here. Here's a point that I saw on Good Morning Football or whatever the NFL Network thing is, but they were making the point of like percentage of cap space if you would have signed Khalil Mack to that and then had Carr as well.
Arif tweeted that out.
Oh, did he?
That like Von Miller and J.J. Watt actually have a higher cap percentage right now than Khalil Mack does.
Really? I didn't know.
Or like at the time when they signed.
When the deal went through. Yeah.
There's a higher cap percentage than what Khalil Mack got today.
Interesting.
Because the salary cap has increased so much.
But I guess who were the quarterbacks? Because the way that they were presenting it on this was you can have one or the other, but you can't have both. You can have a really high-paid defensive player, but you better have a young quarterback that you got on the cheap. Because having both of those guys...
The Vikings would like to counter that point.
That was the only one they mentioned. We're like, I guess Everson Griffin and Cousins.
Kirk Cousins and all the extensions they just gave away.
Yeah, man, I don't know. But John Gruden just screwing it all up. Yeah, man, just look at Brzezinski. He'd be like, Gruden, I got you, bud. You definitely have room to make this guy.
Brzezinski and the Vikings scouting department deserves a ton of credit for the players they've got, because they have a lot of undrafted players.
Yes, see, that I think is something that people don't give enough credit for. In order for a team to be built the way this team is built, you have to nail every draft. If they have 3 bad drafts in a row, they're donezo. Like,
not even the picks in the draft, like all the guys afterwards. Like it's mostly undrafted because you got like Mike Boone,
Hill,
Kyle Sloter. Adam Thielen
worked out well.
Yeah. Anderson Dejo.
There's a ton of
Marcus Sherrills.
Yeah, man. Wow. That is how you get to have a really, really good football team. Is you got to draft well like that, and
you got to have some good Dalvin Cooks, and
you got to get a little lucky with guys. Yeah, for sure.
those are the guys you give the big money to, and then you build around those guys.
For sure. So do you think this, from Gruden's perspective, do you think this was more about not wanting to pay that guy or not trusting his front office to make good draft decisions later on? I think it's more that.
No. I think he didn't want to pay. I think he didn't want to pay him. I think Gruden's super cocky, and he thinks whatever pick he makes in the draft is probably going to be the right one.
That's what I'm saying. Is I feel like he wants to be the guy that like brings all these players in so he can whatever. But he's going to wind up shooting himself in the foot because a player like Khalil Mack, like, give me a break, dude.
Yeah,
like,
I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders GM is gone next year just because of Gruden complaining to like the owner or something like, he doesn't want to do it my way.
Yeah. And what did you bring me in here for if you give me $100 million in a 10-year contract? It's like, all right, well, I guess we'll get rid of that GM. I also saw a tweet from a former NFL, who was it? Garcia. It was Jeff Garcia. Told some media guy, and he was like, paying. I did see that. Yeah, Gruden thinks that when he pay guys, that's admitting that you are good.
Yes.
There's no doubt there anymore.
And he doesn't have an excuse to be like, oh, well, see, I told you so.
Yeah. Next man up. So, you can't do this job. Well, you're paying me. God, that's so interesting. And here's the other thing is I think John Gruden is the kind of guy who would do that kind of thing, who would like want that kind of like absolute control over, I think John Gruden would maybe be a better college football coach than pro.
Yeah, because he's so scummy.
Yeah, and does whatever he wants and doesn't care what the status quo is. He didn't even fit right in Alabama.
I don't think he even talked to Khalil Mack.
Not until after they had gotten rid of him. It's just it's mind blowing. He's your best player.
Best player.
I can't
That's like coming to the Vikings and being like, oh, Harrison Smith, get out of here.
Yeah, just can't do it, man. Got to let you go.
Who's this guy? All pro?
2 first-round picks. Keyshawn Johnson was the other player that got 2 first-round picks to go from
for the Bucs.
Yes, from New York to the Bucs.
And you know who did that?
Johnny Gruden.
That one worked out.
No, and I was going to say, go look at his draft picks when he got like player personnel stuff. When John Gruden was in charge, he's going to screw those first-round picks up. Chicago's got nothing to worry about. He's not going to. I don't think it's going to be an issue for him. But, yeah, I don't know. Johnny Gruden, absolutely ridiculous. So, where were we? Where were we in this? We're in
the Lions.
Couple rants. Oh, yeah, I had the Lions. So, last game of the season.
Did we do the Lions?
We did the Lions. You had win, I had loss. Bears. Final. I'm going to go win because I think the Bears are going to be donezo at that point. I don't think it's going to matter to them in the last week of the season.
And
that Bears might also be why the Vikings lose, is because it's not going to matter to them either.
Yeah. Bears don't do very well in US Bank Stadium. They haven't done well in the Metrodome or even TCF. They just don't do well on the road against the Vikings. And I think the Vikings could be, fighting for a 1 seed or, a bye in the playoffs at this point. So I think the Vikings will be winning that game. Hopefully sitting their starters by like halftime or something. But
yeah, buddy. I hope so too. So what's your
Three losses. 13.
3 losses. That's a bold prediction, my friend. That's a bold prediction.
So?
I mean, to assume that it's this first place schedule, and knew everything.
But they have a first place roster.
I mean, I agree with you. I think it's very possible they win 13 games. I just heard your predictions. I can't really argue with it, but
this is also the Vikings, so if something's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong.
Yes, and welcome into my world and my prediction, and that is why we got 5 losses on the schedule.
Like I tweeted out the other day, like after Dan Bailey got released, I was like, why shouldn't the Vikings try and sign Dan Bailey? And somebody was like, oh, give the rookie kicker a shot or whatever. Give him a chance. Why would you say that? I'm like, have you ever rooted for the Vikings?
How long have you been watching this football team,
give the rookie kicker a chance? No.
Are you crazy? In the most important, important season, but one of the few seasons where there's an actual real chance that they could win. Everything. Yeah. Actual real chance.
I think Kai Forbath got cut by the Jets.
Meh. Kai Forbath means nothing to me. Now. He's dead to me. Nope. Can't have him back. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Is Janikowski available yet? Because whenever that sea bass becomes available, take him, bring him on in the boat.
Hey, B-Rob, come back. You got one of those reels?
Yeah, for real. Oh, that was perfect. Perfect.
No, I think the Seahawks are keeping him. I think that's the only good thing they got going for him right now. That Russell Wilson. So, and I mean, don't they have a lot of bass in Seattle? So
I mean, yeah, he fit right in there. Yeah, it would be good. There's a lot of.
It's like he's like a build. He's already got like 5 local TV commercials probably out there. Where, like, he catches those fish. Hey, I'm sea bass. This is sea bass.
Oh God. Okay, so let's predict some of the awards. Who do you think is going to be the rookie of the year for the Vikings? For the Vikings, not for the NFL. For the Vikings.
Do both sides of the ball. I think you gotta go Mike Hughes. Seems like an easy pick, but if he gets, I think he'll probably be on the field more as the season progresses. I think the Vikings are going to learn that, Mackenzie Alexander is probably not the guy they're going to roll with for the future.
Totally agree
on
with
the
that.
field, because Zimmer's been praising him like ever since he got to the Vikings, and he's a rookie defensive back, and you never see that. So, I mean, he's going to have Terrence Newman as his coach, so that'll be good. And he could be able to get in the return game too if the Vikings want to do that. So
yeah,
I think he's got the most opportunity. I think maybe Brian O'Neill and maybe Mike Boone, but depending on how injuries go.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. I think Hughes is going to take it on defense, and depending on who gets more time on offense, it very well could be an offensive lineman that steps in and plays. So I don't disagree with that. Special teams. Who's going to be your special teams player of the year?
Mike Hughes.
Mike Hughes again. Interesting pick.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they're going to use him on kickoff returns at least.
Yeah.
So I think he might be able to run back one, and based on the way kickoffs look in the preseason, there's going to be like a lot of room for guys to run back. I think averages are going to be up a lot higher this year.
I completely agree. I think the kickoff is coming back this year. It's going to be a weapon again if teams.
I think it's kind of annoying because I think there's going to be more kickoff returns and people are going to be like, again. But I think that'll be fun too. Like people have to actually they go up by 7 with like 3 seconds left and there's a kickoff and you have to worry about that.
Actually have to pay attention to it. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Mike Hughes is the next Devin Hester.
Ooh, that would be amazing.
But he can actually play corner too.
Yeah, because that was different. Because wasn't they tried to make Devin Hester a wide receiver after that? Because he started as like a defensive back, wasn't he?
Well, after he wasn't. He was. He went to be like a receiver for the Falcons and stuff too.
Yeah, running that fly route, just run straight up the sidelines, buddy. That's all you need to do.
He was fast.
No, super fast. I like Devin Hester. I thought he was like crazy fun to watch for those years. I hated. That's what I was just gonna say. Hated watching him destroy the Vikings. Yes.
He won't run it back. He ran it back.
Why would you ever punt him the ball? It drives me. That used to be my biggest pet peeve. Why give him an opportunity?
Too much Chris Cluey running.
Yeah. My special teams player of the year was going to be Quigley, and then he was removed. So now I just have written whoever kicks field goals. That's who's going to be the special teams player of the year. Yeah, that probably isn't going to be Danny Carlson all year. My boy Danny.
Never.
I hope he does well, but I don't think he will.
Yeah.
Defensive player of the year?
I think Roberto Aguayo's available. So.
Oh, God. He knows what it's like to miss a bunch of kicks and get cut.
Yeah, so he's got experience.
He'd fit right in here. It'd be great.
Just a defense?
Defensive player of the year. I'm going to go with Hunter. I think this is the year he just kaboom. I think he's the most visible star on that defense at this time next year.
Monster in the preseason.
Mm-hmm. He just was that Bortles that he destroyed with one hand?
Bortles is like 240.
And then laid on him. Good God, he's unbelievable.
I'm going to stay on the defensive line, but I'm going to go Sheldon Richardson. He's in a contract year, which is like an immediate boost in play for any player. So he's going to be like, hey, look at me, I need money. Yep. So I think he's going to do well for the Vikings. That's my guy.
That's a good pick. That's a sleeper pick. I wouldn't have thought that, but I get what you're saying. Offensive MVP.
Not Trey Waynes.
Offensive MVP. Who you going? Trey Waynes on offense.
That one could.
Me too. God, and we always do this. Our predictions are always the same.
So boring. I feel like Kirk Cousins is the easy choice.
Yeah, going forward, I'll make the easy choice. You do the weird one because I feel like we both picked Cook because we thought the other one was going to pick
Laquan Treadwell.
Yeah,
I think he'll be the most improved. I think not Dalvin Cook. Laquan Treadwell would be the most improved.
Well, shoot, he may already be that just at this point in the season. If he gets hurt and never plays all year, I think he might be the most improved.
He just blocked me on Twitter, so he's got one thing going for him.
Yeah, dude. How did you get that to happen? Just enough smack talking over a long period of time.
Could have been I was just writing good stuff about him.
See, that's what leads me to believe that he probably blocked you a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Someone was ripping on him maybe he listens to this podcast because we've been on occasion to rip on him from time to time, showing off his Instagram stories and stuff like that.
It's true. I'm not blocked, so maybe, but I also don't talk as much smack about him.
But I'm not blocked by Adrian Peterson.
Oh, really? Huh.
This boggles my mind. I just throw him into the fire at any chance I get.
All the time, yeah.
I think Drew Mahold is blocked by him. I was like...
By Adrian Peterson? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Weird.
I'm blocked. I think I'm blocked by Laquan Treadwell and Christian Ponder's wife. I feel like that's the only Vikings I'm blocked by.
Ponder lady, though, she blocked everybody.
She searches her name and blocks them.
Yeah.
But I don't blame her because I think I accused or I got on their case when they were crying about people fans yelling at them and stuff when they're Vikings fans, and I'm like, well,
yeah, play better. We won't do that. Although I will say this, anytime you have a Twitter situation like that and the people are saying you got to knock this off, we're trying to block people, that there's a group of 5-10 people who are way over the line with whatever they were saying to Miss Ponder.
No, I think
not that you were, but...
I think they mentioned the Ponders mentioned people are death threats.
Yeah, man, that ain't cool.
So I'm like, those guys are idiots, obviously. But,
you can't. Yeah,
getting mad about people complaining about a quarterback, it comes with the territory.
Yeah, when you're in the NFL and you're a quarterback, a first-round pick, you should maybe get ready for it, dude.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, 49ers, man, what's your prediction? We're here. Regular season. It happened. We've made it.
Are we doing score? Are we doing just win or loss?
I guess just win or loss. I wasn't even thinking score. I can't remember what the score I picked every week last year was, so I can't keep.
You wrote it in a notebook or something.
Oh yeah, these aren't all different notebooks now. It's a new season, Adam. You got to get a new notebook for the new season.
A new notebook. Maybe next week.
Yeah, maybe next week we'll do that.
Before we leave, we got to mention that after Sunday's game against the 49ers, Tyler and I will be doing a live Bleeding Purple podcast reaction. So keep an eye out for that. Maybe a half hour. Be on YouTube, right?
Yep.
YouTube.
Streaming live on YouTube.
We'll share it and stuff so everyone can watch. Maybe there'll be a chat so people can ask questions, and then we'll just give our hot takes and see if the season's over already after Sunday.
Boy, the way we operate probably will be over. So
didn't we already make this prediction at the beginning of the episode?
Yeah, we kind of did. I said they were going to win, so you said they were going to win, so we don't even really need to do that. But.
I think the Niners probably would have had a better chance if Jerick McKinnon was in there.
I agree.
But he's not. I think the defense is something to watch. They've got a bunch of good young players. Is Reuben Foster suspended? I think he is.
I don't know.
First couple of games.
I am so interested to see how Jimmy Garoppolo looks against this defense. Because this is going to be a real legit test for him. So if he looks real good, then maybe I will start to lean Jimmy G is legit. But if he looks like garbage, it's going to going to take me some time.
Yeah,
It'll take me some time to believe
I
in
wouldn't
him.
expect the Vikings to get a lot of pressure on him. He gets the ball out fast.
Yep.
If they do, it's going to be like late hits and stuff, just to be like, hey, we're coming for you.
Yep.
So I think the Vikings might not mind taking a couple early like penalties and stuff, just to like
Wouldn't surprise me.
bash him into the ground.
Yep. Get the fear.
Well, that's what Anthony Barr does. He just drives people into the ground.
Yep.
So you might as well just keep up with that. I think, should we do like a player to watch?
Yeah, do that. Yeah. I mean, I guess I kind of did that for them, but
Trey Waynes.
okay. Yeah. Good call.
Not for good reasons.
Yeah.
But like he's kind of progressed. He's made progressions in the last couple of years. I think that's somebody that Jimmy Garoppolo could target,
Try and exploit
during the game. Like focus on him early, and maybe keep Jordan Logan. Maybe see how they use him, if they use him at all.
Yeah.
In the first game.
I'm going to be
Throw
focused
some-
on whoever's starting at center for the Vikings. That's going to be my main concern, is what is that looking like? Because if that is Isadora, I might change my prediction. But if it's not, then we'll be okay. I just don't have any confidence in a guy making his first start ever at center in an NFL game. I just don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I'm not unprecedented. I know it's happened
Fair.
before, but I just, I don't know.
Fair. I think Brett Jones is going to be the starter, so I think it's a little less worrisome.
Yes, I
I think
agree.
you got to worry about the quarterback to center, relationship. It's kind of important. You don't want the ball like flying over Kirk Cousins' head.
It's important.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
I agree.
think they should just stay after practice for like 5 hours every day this week and just
For real.
keep hiking the ball.
Get real familiar with one another.
Yeah, get in there. Was it Hard Knocks when it's like Jared Goff and he was like a rookie year and he never like taken a snap from under center?
Oh, yeah,
Like, the
because he's in
offensive
charge.
coordinator.
Get in there.
Yeah, the offensive coordinator was like, get your thumb, stick your thumb right in there, stick it right in. You guys are best friends.
Oh,
Like,
that,
oh wow.
man, that's my
And,
like,
and now he's never under center. That's back to shotgun on. So
he's just more comfortable.
You're not good under center. You're not good under center, so why are we going to make you do that?
Exactly.
Because Jeff Fisher isn't your coach.
Because that's how old NFL minds used to think. You fit our
and I think-
mold. Okay.
I think I saw the announcers for Sunday's game for the Vikings game is Chris Burkhardt, Tom Burkhardt, and Charles Davis.
Okay.
So they had those guys a couple of times last year, and they were pretty good.
Okay.
So
I
like
have
Charles Davis.
no idea who either of those guys are.
Um,
I'm usually on top of that kind of stuff. I have no
do
idea.
you remember? I think Burkhardt filled in for Joe Buck, and he was doing like the World Series or whatever. and he
Oh,
was the guy
right.
with
Yeah.
Detroit.
Okay. Yep. I'm with you. Now I got it. Yep.
Yeah, so he did that, and then I think Chris Carter is calling a game.
Oh,
He's calling
really?
the Dolphins game
Cool.
for CBS, I think.
I like
So
Chris
maybe,
Carter.
maybe he's doing something. I like Chris Carter too. He just ripped on Adrian Peterson.
Yeah,
I like
was
him
one of the
even
best
more.
comments ever. He's like, you shouldn't be there, and I shouldn't have been in Miami either.
Then Adrian
We never
Peterson's like,
would have
"Oh,
been
you
there."
did drugs." It's like, "Oh, you beat your 4-year-old child."
For real, man. Are we really doing this? Because your list is longer than Chris Carter's.
This is not the pissing contest you want to.
For real, right? Because Chris Carter's is like, did drugs, was a jerk. That's like pretty much the end of the list. Like,
Oh, a sneaky thing that I'm probably going to write about like tomorrow or something is Chad Beebe changed his number. He no longer is number 84. No one is
So
no longer number 84.
you're thinking maybe that will not be in the rotation?
Randy Moss just won the Hall of Fame. Could be a special halftime ceremony sometime this year.
Wouldn't surprise me. I'd love to see it. Wouldn't surprise me.
84 in the Raptors, get rid of that, like, oh, Cordell Patterson, here's 84.
Yeah, too much to live up to, man. That 84 in
Get that
purple's
out.
gotta, just.
And
go.
then 69. Retire that too.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Brock Lesnar.
And don't put Jared Allen on the back. But nice.
Yeah, perfect. That's the perfect spot to end it. That's perfect right there. All right, bud. Well, see you not even next week. We will see you after the game on Sunday. Live.
Sunday.
Skull Vikes. See you then.